tell whether this thing is live or not. It's so difficult. Without making everything super awkward in the beginning when we start streaming every time. It's like, what's going on? Are we live? Are we not? Can we hear anything? Does Gina know anything that's going on? Is she talking to herself? Who knows? Okay. Oh, I think we're back up and we have sound. I think I actually got the stream back up first try. That's a new one for me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Asagao Academy Normal Boots Club. Thank you guys for sticking around while I took a quick break. I think we're going to continues romance shoot, or calls, really. We're probably going to finish it, I think, probably during this little run. I've been going through this stuff really quickly because I'm not going to be streaming next week. I'm really excited to tell you guys, like, why that is, but I can't yet, and there's a good reason, and I promise there is. Please trust me. I know it's really weird, but anyway. Okay, so when we left off, we had the most awkward situation in the world happen. Hana thought her and Paul were out on a date. He was just trying to get, quote-unquote, some of her mojo. Super embarrassing. My heart breaks for her. Yeah. My heart really breaks for her. Alrighty. Let's see if we can fix this mess. I spent the next few days desperately avoiding Paul and the rest of Continue. Nobody asked me any questions. Either Mike told them ahead of time what was up, or Paul did. Either way, it made me even less eager to show my face back at the table. Instead, I focused on catching up on my schoolwork and tournament practice, two things that had fallen completely by the wayside in favor of helping Paul with his campaign. We are back, is Pep. Dude, let me... to make sure that Ispep can hear us, because I love Ispep and she needs to be able to hear. Both were just 3 weeks away and I was getting increasingly nervous. Sweet. Good. Awesome, Ispep. Wonderful. Would I be able to win the tournament in my current state? Would Paul be able to beat Jeff and win the election? Every time Paul crossed my mind, I got cross with myself. Why did I still care about some guy who was clearly just using me for his own benefit? Why was I okay with something like that? Why wasn't I angrier at him? Why did I still care about the things that made him happy? And even more than that, why were new campaign strategies still popping into my head at the most inopportune times? Why did I miss meetings with them and debating strategy? Why did I almost feel like I wanted to go back? I mean, they've done really embarrassing, dumb things in their time. Maybe it wouldn't be so awkward if you went back. I was taking lunch by myself nowadays, not having the heart to ask Mai to separate from Jared and join me. In a way, it was nice. Peaceful, meditative, without the chaos and the feeling that people were always watching me. I told myself that I was just getting in touch with nature, my inner hippie. I leaned my head against the rough bark of the tree behind me and closed my eyes. Shizuka wouldn't miss me if I took a little nap, right? Oh, shit! Mwah! All the love to you, Ispep. I'm giving you digital hugs back. Something had fallen from the uppermost tree branch, landing before me with ninja-like agility. I threw my hands up over my hair to protect it, only to hear a rather familiar laugh. Why do you always do that when you're surprised? It's not like I'm gonna give you a concussion or anything. I lowered my hands and frowned. Why on earth? Well, Hana. Nick scratched the back of his neck, searching for words. You've been gone from the club for a while, and I kind of... well, I miss... I needed some help with my homework, and I wanted to ask you. Nick! You have a crush on Hana! You should admit it. Go for it. I'm going to step through the hole in the fourth wall that Mai had broken a while ago and backhand him back to film club. Wow, Ispep is mad at Paul. I stared at him. I'm not even in your grade. Right, but, you're a scholarship student. You clearly know better than the rest of these Asagao peons. Uh-huh. Nick grabbed my hands and held them against his chest in a way that was all too familiar to me. Oh yeah, Paul did that too, didn't he? Please, Hana, I need your help. Only you know how to deal with me. Everyone else just gets frustrated and gives up. Fine, I'll do it, okay?
Yeah!
Yes! Nick screamed and punched the air.
Goodbye!
I'll see you in the library after class, okay? Don't bother changing your mind. Don't bother changing your mind. But it was too late. He was off, sprinting across the field and out of earshot. I couldn't change my mind without hunting him down. To the library it is, then. After class, I found Nick just inside the library, standing with a paper mache flower in his palm. Hi. Ready to get studying? Yeah, definitely. Oh, I sense something interesting about to happen. As we searched for a small table we could have to ourselves, Nick fidgeted nervously, twirling the flower in his hands. We finally settled on a small table in the back of the corner library, secluded and quiet. I took out my books, completely unsure of what to do or where to start. If we didn't think that it was awkward enough thinking that we were on a date with Paul, let's see what happens when Hana realizes that Nick has a big old crush on her. We were studying The Legend of the Two Kingdoms. Oh. Beautiful. In which an ancient kingdom was split into mirror worlds and a hero had to reunite them, or something. The 4 years, on the other hand, were running some kind of weird democracy simulator. So... You said you were having trouble with the judicial branch of government, right? I peered at my books, looking for anything to help me when something slid into my field of vision. It was the flower. Nick slid the paper flower in between the pages of my book. I took it and glanced at him. Thank you? No problem. It's because... He flushed. Oh, it's because you're as beautiful as a flower. Oh my god! Can we turn this into a Nick romance route? Can we just have that, please? Because I'm way more down for Nick than I am for Paul right now. Oh my gosh, that's adorable! I know, I can't! I nodded slowly, setting the flower gently to the side. Wow! Cold as ice, Hana! Anyway, across the world, democracies can be split into different branches of government, one of which is judicial. In America, people... Nick was smiling at me and nodding, slight giggles escaping him every now and then. So, the different branches are necessary because the system of checks and balances is supposed to handle who has the power, so no one person or group gets too much of it. A dreamy sigh fled from Nick's lips. I pursed my own. Okay, so now I'm wondering if Nick genuinely has a crush on her, which I think could be very possible because he was getting kind of blushy with her in the beginning, or if Paul put him up to this to try and, like, take Hana's mind off him to try and make... I don't know. The Continue guys are so weird, and they're so in their own world, I don't even know why they do what they do. Yeah, why don't you go date Nick? He's a really sweet guy. Go date him. Are you paying attention? Right, absolutely. Nick nodded happily. He seemed content to just sit there and look at me, and it made me really uncomfortable. Anyways, I don't think I can help you much more than that. I don't understand this all that well. We're still on basic myths and mythology. Nick sat up in alarm. But, I need help with my math. I shook my head quickly, stuffing my books into my bag. I'm terrible at math and geography and, all other subjects, so... Wait! Nick grabbed onto my jacket sleeve just as I was about to leave. Wary, I turned to face him. So... I wanted to ask you... Oh, I winced, really not wanting to hear his question. Are you and Paul really dating? I blinked rapidly. What? Well, I heard the interview, and there are all those rumors floating around, so... When I ask Paul, he just chuckles and shakes his head, and since he isn't giving me any information, I decided to come to you. He hasn't said anything about it? About what? Then you are dating him? No! No, I'm not dating him. We're purely platonic. I cursed my stupid stutter, always butting in when least necessary, but Nick nodded with childish glee. Good! I'm glad to hear it. You are? Yeah, I mean, I didn't want a romance to complicate the lovely friendship quadrangle we've got going on. I think you mean rectangle. See? I could use your help. Sorry. I forgot that I have a very important game to be playing. I tugged my sleeve out of his grasp and he stumbled out of his chair. Hana, wait! Mr. Murphy, I do think that you know the most basic rule of any library in existence. Right. Sorry, ma'am. Oh, that was really mean to do to him, though. Now I feel bad for Nick, you guys. Oh. Oh, I feel awful. I sped out of the library, a smile tickling my lips. If Paul hadn't told anybody, that meant my humiliation was only known to me and him. All the fears I had, all the reasons to avoid the group faded into the background. As horrible as it would be to face Paul again, I was ready to do it. It was time to get back into the game. He really is like a precious cinnamon roll. Oh, is Pep? Look, I curbed my cursing on stream because it would get excessive if I cursed on stream the way I do in real life. I mean, I'm an Italian New Yorker. It's part of my natural vernacular. It's just there. Current event: Rainbow in the Dark. Dear Diary, Nick asked me to help him study, and then things got really weird, like really weird. Is that what Paul felt like when he found out that I wanted to date him? That only makes me feel worse. Yeah, it's a rough one. The next day I stood again in the lunch line with Mai, gathering a motley assortment of fruits and vegetables on my plate. It's not going to be weird, is it? I mean, I told them you were having lady problems, which is true in a way, so I doubt they're going to asking you a ton of questions. Wow! Thanks, Mai! You know how guys are all squeamish about that kind of thing. It is a good excuse, though. If you want an excuse that they're not going to probe more about, that is a good way to go. I nodded. Despite the fact that Paul hadn't told anybody, I was still terrified about facing the club. No, if I was honest with myself, it was facing Paul. He knew exactly why I avoided him for almost a full week. The election was drawing nearer and nearer, and as the pressure ramped up, I vanished. What a responsible campaign manager. If he didn't already hate me for trying to force a kiss out of him, he hated me for being irresponsible. Still, part of me was a little bit mad at him for trying to use me the way he had. I latched onto that thin thread of anger, using it to power my shaking legs towards the normal boots table. Hana, you're back! I was getting really worried about you. Are you feeling better? If you needed help, you could have called on me. I would have gotten whatever you needed in a heartbeat. Gerard! Yes! Gerard! He's the one that I'm romancing next, and I'm so excited now. Because, look, every girl knows that a guy that would do that for her, that's a keeper. I laughed nervously. Gerard's kindness put me at ease, but the fact that he brought up my absence first thing made me uncomfortable. Thankfully, as I glanced around the table, I realized Paul, Nick, and Josh were nowhere to be found. Was there a meeting I didn't know about? All the better, then. Thanks, Gerard. How's the search for Princess Pumpernickel? Not good. Not good at all. Oh, right. I hope that in his route we can get him a Princess Pumpernickel. But it's just a matter of time before I find her. She can't hide from me forever. Gerard beamed at me, and his optimism was infectious. My guard fell, and I slipped back into the steady, confusing conversation that generally floated around the normal Boots Club table. If I just had enough time, I'm sure I could make a huge breakthrough, but the librarian is really getting on my case. Satch! We solved that problem last time, but... Oh... And now Mr. Saitomo's withholding the permission to use the theater stage, which I got from him ages ago. Are you gonna hold a tea ceremony for my Jared? None of my actors can take time off from class to prepare, which I get, but at this rate it's gonna be a disaster. Oh, and Jacques gone. Gerard is fantastic. I slurped my noodles, eyebrows raised. I wasn't the only one with problems, it seemed. The rest of the boys were too caught up in their own situations to have spared much a thought for my well-being. All except for Gerard and... Oh, of course. Things going well for you? It was an innocent question, but the quirk of his brow made me feel he was getting at something else. I am trying to put it behind me, I think. Oh, really? I mean... Oh, really? I glared at him and he smiled. Well, not that it makes me happy, but you know, I was kind of wondering whether at some point we could...
Hana!
Oh, God! And the hits keep on coming, you guys! Oh, wow! Paul with the timing! Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. You're 13 and 5'4". I am quite a bit older than you, and I am quite a bit shorter than you. That's great. Hana! Hands grabbed my shoulders and I jumped, flinging them off of me.
Whoa!
Whoa, intense! Hey, PPG, soccer's going good? Oh, yeah. 17 and 5'7". I'm older than you. I'm 4'11". That's why I feel for Hana. I feel for Hana when she talks about the issues of being short because, oh my god. Anyway, Hana, I was hoping I could talk to you privately about something. Horror shot through my stomach and I bowed my head. There was nothing I could do. I had to accept my fate. Sorry, PBG. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I got up and followed Paul from the cafeteria, feeling eyes watches all the way out the door. In the fresh air, I let out a heavy sigh. Thank God. I hate it when people stare. Huh. I'd have thought you were used to it by now, what with your hair. I put a hand defensively to my bangs and Paul backtracked. Because it's pretty! I guess you being stared at is partly my fault, isn't it? What with the rumors and all? I said nothing. He was getting dangerously near addressing what happened the week before, and the sudden nausea overtaking me didn't make me inclined to speak. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. Kind of. He clapped his hands together, then pointed me square in the face. I have a plan. A plan? Yes, a plan. You see, you and I are going to pretend to date. This is the worst idea ever, Paul. Why? 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 Paul? Why? Just why? He clapped his hands together again, then jazz-handed them out in a large circle. Wabam! I'm gonna wabam you, kid. What is wrong with you? My throat caught, but I tried very hard not to be upset. Why on earth would I do that? Was he making fun of me? Or did he genuinely not understand what a completely terrible and insensitive idea that was? Well, the reason people are paying you so much attention is because we haven't answered the question of whether we're dating. Or we have, but no means the same thing as no comment. If we just answer the question properly and tell them we are dating, there's no way they'll keep following you around the way they're doing. The campaign will get a nice bit of publicity, and you'll be safe from the horror that is our occasionally idiotic student body. He bowed gallantly and peered up at me through his bangs.
Right?
Sound good? I stared at him in a potent mix of shock and disgust. This is what you call doing me a favor? This is how you protect your campaign manager from harm? Yes? What's wrong? Oh my god. I let out a harsh laugh. What's wrong? I can't believe this. Hana. I stalked back into the cafeteria, Paul trailing behind me like a duck following its mama.
Hana.
But Hana, that's not what I'm doing. You know that's not what I'm doing, right? I grabbed my bag and took my tray to throw it out.
Hana.
Explaining nothing, I fled the cafeteria, heading I knew not where. As long as it was far, far away from Paul, I would be happy. Yes, says Pep. Go off, girl! Do it! Chapter 4. You have my permission. Do it! Go crazy! It wasn't long before I found myself in an actual place instead of just wandering the halls endlessly. What do we got here, by the... Who the hell does Paul think he is? Old man explains it all. Jesus Christ. I don't know what's going on anymore, you guys. I stepped into the library and meandered through the shelves, mind racing. Had I overreacted? No. Was Paul really being a jerk, or was I being too sensitive? He's being a jerk, though not intentionally. It took such a level of either complete disregard or complete stupidity to ask me something like that after our misunderstanding. I couldn't fathom it. There was no way he could have done that with good intentions. As I switched from one aisle to the next, my steps slowed. I traced my fingers along the back spines of the book, looking at titles. Guide to the Internet for Completely Dumb People, The Hope That Hope Hoped, Ancient Alchemies Described by an Immortal Bunny. Asagao's collection of books was unique, and though I regretted that I hadn't spent much time here until now. Hold on one second, you guys. Whoops, sorry. Where were we? Okay. We did that. Okay, I think Mr. Saitoma's about to drop some real ish on us, you guys. I say let's go for it. Oh, hello, it's you again. I jumped slightly. Mr. Saitoma stood next to me, peering over my shoulder. I didn't take you for one interested in the alchemical processes of bunnies, but now I feel short-sighted. He smiled at me, and I smiled hesitantly back. I was hoping I would run into you again. It's not often one meets someone such as yourself. He gestured to the top of my skull. It took me a few seconds to realize he was referring to my hair. You know, I knew a young woman who reminded me of you. She didn't have pink hair like you do, but she had the same eyes. You wouldn't happen to be a Mizuno, would you? Did he know what? Whoa! Plot twist! Does he know Hana's mom? But how? He gave a hearty laugh. Your mother seemed like the type to not let go of her maiden name. I'm happy to see that hasn't changed. Why? He knew our mom. What is going on? Hadn't? She's... Oh, hadn't. She's no longer with us. To my surprise, Mr. Saitomo nodded as if he fully expected this. It's not rare to see something like that in her case. What do you mean? How did you know my mother? The old man twirled his beard, eyes glistening. I taught her flower arrangements in her old school, long before I was appointed to Asagao. She was exceptionally talented. I remember she wanted to start a flower shop. My father makes pottery, and they sold flowers in the vases they were potted in. The old man hooted again, slapping his knee. A clever idea! Clever she was, too. I see you share her intelligence. It would be difficult for someone of your financial status to come here otherwise. I glanced down at my clothes, suddenly self-conscious. It wasn't that apparent that I didn't have the money, was it? I suppose it's the curse of the main character, isn't it? BAM! There's that fourth wall again! Main character? I called me that too. He nodded sadly. You can't help the effect you have on the people around you. Don't fret, my dear. What does that sound like? You're talking in circles? Are you trying to tell me something, or... Genre savvy, too! There's more of that fourth wall breaking down! Genre savvy, I love it. Yeah, sure, genre savvy. But you get it then. Sometimes people find different ways to say what they want to say. Don't worry so much about that boy. I know he's difficult to deal with, but he really has the best intentions. If you can believe that, you will overcome everything. He nodded sagely, then turned away. You're just leaving then? He crept slowly away, resembling a toad, or at least a small green imp of some sort. I frowned. Whatever his motive for approaching me in a library to deliver cryptic information regarding something he had no way of knowing just happened, his advice was sound. Yay! The fourth wall's officially destroyed! I had, after all, refused Paul's offer. That should be the end of that. The least I could do was show up to the meeting after class. If I didn't do that, I might as well leave the campaign. Bitterly, I shoved the books as far back in their shelves as they could reach, smiling when I heard the satisfying clunk of their ends hitting the wood. There were only 2 weeks until the tournament and the election. I could last until then. Bet I'm worth more. I don't know. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I might actually make this like a longer video. I think that might happen. I don't know. We'll have to see how we wind up. I avoided Mai's and PBG's questioning eyes all through class, concentrating intensely on the small doodles I made in the corner of my notebook. Only one person had seen the whole thing coming and therefore accepted my odd behavior. John. When I made eye contact with him, he nodded at me, a sympathetic smile on his lips. Then he looked away. Finally, class was over, and I pulled on my backpack. The end of the days had come. It was time to swallow my pride. Seeing the grim determination on my face, Mai frowned. Are you sure you're going to be okay? Don't worry, Mai. I stretched my neck, then grinned. I'll be fine. I stood outside of the meeting room, heart in my mouth. It wasn't often I had to swallow my pride. It wasn't often I had to face a room full of people and tell them that. Although I meant what I said, I completely overreacted. I swallowed hard. When I entered the room, the 3 boys, who had been discussing something in a tight circle in the center of the room, turned to stare me down like the worm I was. Hey guys.
Hana!
Hana! It was an awkward stalemate. Nobody moved either to welcome me in or shove me out. I closed the door and walked to my usual chair, setting my bag down in its seat. So I wanted... I'm sorry. I stared at Paul in surprise. Sensing the tension in the air, Nick and Josh stepped out of the room and gave us our space. You're sorry? He sighed. I wanted to pretend like your allegations were false, but I realized you were correct. I was using you for publicity and not particularly treating you like a human being or a full-fledged member of the team. There are reasons for this, but I don't think I can tell you why. It would only make things worse between all of us. So for now, I hope you can accept my full apology and my intentions to change my behavior. He bowed 90 degrees in front of me and I threw up my hands. Oh, please stop this! Stop! Straighten up! Stop! He was acting like an actual politician towards me, like we weren't even friends. I physically grabbed him and straightened him up. Sit. I pointed at the teacher's desk and he obediently sat on its edge. Paul, look. I know the election has been putting a lot of stress on you, but you've got to live life outside of it too. I know I do. You don't have to tell me this. Are you sure? I think I do. You've been relating everything back to the election. I haven't heard you talk about the tournament or your classes in weeks. I don't even think Jeff's got that much of a leg on you. We're clearly in the lead with all the publicity we've been doing. That's what you think. I disagree. Most students seem disinterested in the election. We could just get a way to make them active participants in our name. He started and I jumped. I've got it! Nick! Josh! Nick and Josh burst through the door of the classroom and I looked from me to Paul.
Yeah.
Let's have a date auction! What? The date auction? What do young people care about? If online auto-completion searches are to be believed, they care about one thing. Romance. I'm sure you could put that differently. Right now, Asagao is against romance. But if we could find a way to make romance approachable, to make it fun, or to turn it into a fundraiser for the school, it's a win-win. I stared at Paul in shock. He heard absolutely nothing I just said to him, and I couldn't tell whether I found his relentless drive annoying or adorable. Certainly, it was awe-inspiring. I doubt I could make any guys compete in a date auction, but that's where you come in, Hana. Oh, no! Oh, no! Nope! Nope! Okay. Good, don't make us do it. Oh, there goes my phone again. It's that time of night. Stop! Stop! Hold on, guys. I need you to gather all the girls you can, from your dorm, from your classes, or wherever, as long as they're girls and students at Asagao. Rally together the army! This will be my final play! Jesus Christ. Nick and Josh politely crapped. I wanted to crawl into a hole. There was, again, nothing I could do. You'll do it, won't you, Hana? You'll talk to the womenfolk for me? Oh, yay! I didn't even want to try to guess this one, but the correct answer is over my dead body. Oh my god. Paul stepped closer to me, giving me puppy dog eyes. No? No. He sniffed. Not even for the betterment of Asagao?
No!
Not even! Not even for a big warm hug?
No!
Not even! Don't you dare! Don't you dare, Paul! Well, if Hana says we can't do it, I guess we just won't do it. He sighed dramatically. Nick and Josh clucked, shaking their heads. Don't make me the bad guy! I'm not the one trying to sell students to other students! Not students, time! Time! But it's fine, I get it, I understand the qualms. I'll just go back to the drawing board. And Paul physically started moving towards the chalkboard at the front of the room. Oh, did I say did I have a slip of the tongue? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go mad. Fine! Fine, I'll do it.
Hana!
Paul pulled me into a hug. Nick and Josh balked and I flushed. Oh, right, sorry. Professional distance. Paul pulled away. I took 3 steps back from him. Then I'll get going. We'll have it this Friday. This gives me all next week to work on my speech. Or prepare for the tournament, right?
Mamma mia!
Oh man, that's the day after, isn't it? Mamma mia, that was adorable. Don't worry, I've got this. I've totally got this. You totally don't got it. You're Paul. I closed the door at the side. Suffice. Okay. Hold on one second. As a writer, that is one of my biggest pet peeves. So allow me. Allow me. Okay. Suffice it to say, this was not at all how I expected that situation to go. But then, when it came to continue, it never was. Where did you put your rant, is Pep? I don't see anything in the chat. Maybe my chat went weird. Well, yeah, if I were Hana, I would not be speaking to Paul at all. Reality. It's just a game thing. I told Maya about the plan that evening, my head bobbing from side to side. I don't know how I'm going to tell everyone, though. Isn't that a weird thing to do? I don't want them to feel like pieces of meat. The more I thought about the date auction, the more I realized it could be harmless, maybe even fun, but I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to get around the knee-jerk reactions of a charity auction. It was squicky. I looked up at me from where she was hanging half off my bed. I mean, it is for charity, isn't it? I nodded.
Bingo.
Then trust me, there's nothing rich people love more than charity. I don't know. Don't worry. I got this. Oh, no! She stood up and moved to the door. What are you doing? Don't worry. It'll be fine. Wait! Mai stuck her head out of the doorway.
Hey,
who wants to...
boys for charity?
Yes! Yes! They gave us a voice line for this. Oh my god! That is fantastic! My! There was a brief silence. Then... Yes! What? Dating boy? Yo, Mimi! Not you! Not you! I don't care if it's for charity! You get back in your fucking lane! You get the hell out of here! Affirmative. This is a standard high school experience. I'm eager to participate. Mai held up her hands to the clamoring masses and they went quiet. I imagine them staring up at Mai like she was some kind of savior, like little chipmunks. Jesus Christ, Mai! Jesus Christ. Paul, our current president, is holding a date auction. She winked. If you ever wanted a chance for your boyfriend to prove his love for you, or maybe that guy you've been ogling in the gym to casually reciprocate, yes, I'm looking at you, Naomi, then you should all participate. It's only going to make our academy stronger in the meantime. There was a murmur of assent, and Mai smiled.
Bye.
Great! Then I'll see you all on Friday. Spread the word! Could you guys imagine for just one moment if Mai was their campaign manager? Can you imagine what a beautiful disaster that would be? Mai shut the door and jumped back onto my bed, a smug smirk on her face. How? You? Not everything is as big a deal as you seem to think it is, Hana. Just talk to people and throw ideas out there. Something will stick. People are more forgiving than you think they are. It was easy for Mai to say. Mai was always brash, loud, semi-obnoxious, even if that was what I loved about her. It was easier for her to be outlandish than for me. People would think it was saying something about me. Like I snapped. Mai picked up my stuffed rabbit and stared at it, tweaking her nose from side to side as if sniffing. But then, I didn't really know all that much about her, did I?
Hey!
Mai, do you have a dream?
What?
What? I know you're going to school here because your parents basically made you, but you have a passion, right? Other than Jared, I mean.
Oh.
Huh? I guess I do. What is it? Volleyball, public speaking, acting, modeling? Whoa, whoa, whoa! You're giving me way too much credit. Well, if I had the chance, I'd want to do two things. The first is start up a heavy rock band called the Pardon Eyes, where I can play a badass red electric guitar, or maybe a bass and swing my hair all over the stage like a total beast. I nodded. I see it. The other thing is, well, I don't know if I could ever really do it, but I always thought it'd be fun to be a writer. That is my dream as well! Yeah! It is one of the hardest things in the world to do. It is tough. Here we go. I will hunt you down and murder your face. I love this rant. Is Pep. It's fantastic. Like Gina just said, the fourth wall is officially destroyed, so run, Forrest, run. Do your little fucking ballerina dance moves out the damn school. Oh, that's beautiful, is Pep. Good job. That's awesome. Oh, yeah? That explains why you were so excited about the letter to the editor.
Seriously.
Why don't you try applying to the school newspaper? If Continue have a column, certainly you could do it.
What?
Oh, what? Me? Oh, no, 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 no. Not me, no. I'm not good enough yet. There's no way I could ever do that. I'll keep practicing, and someday when I actually have something to offer, I'll think about it. But...
No!
Oh, no, Hana. She whirled on me, a finger raised like she was talking to a dog. I whimpered. Shouldn't you be practicing for the tournament or something? I sighed and stood, my knees cracking a bit. Yeah, I should.
Really?
Were those your legs? My God, Hana, you're like an old man. I chuckled softly and shooed her off my bed. It was time for me to practice. But as I pulled out my phone, I remembered something Mai did for me a few months ago, back at the start of the year. You should accept! Mai believed in me and my abilities, even when I didn't believe in myself. Wasn't there some way I could return the favor? Maybe she could be a guest column writer for the Continue column. Idea? The weekend finally came. I woke with the fear of God in me and dressed rapidly. I was one of the people managing the event after all, and it wouldn't do to show up after the girls who were actually participating. The hallway was already filled with the sounds of girls getting ready in the morning. Smells of straightened hair, fruity perfume, and floral shampoo drifted aimlessly down the corridor. Why on earth were these girls excited about being bet on? Sure, it was a very rare case of dating that was 100% condoned by Asagao Academy, but... Then there was the idea that they could go on stage and nobody would bid on them. No, I wouldn't do it in 1,000 years. And even offer to someone to pay me. And before Paul makes her get up on stage and auction herself off, and PBG tries to bet her, but he gets outbid. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? It was just a thing. Please, Hana, I'll pay you. I'll do anything. What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? I should have known. I should have seen this coming. There was no way Paul would let this opportunity slip by. No way he wasn't going to make his campaign manager show her support by participating in the actual event. Over my limp and dead body. Come on, what are you afraid of? You're a gorgeous girl. You're a gorgeous girl. Any guy would be lucky to have you. I shot a glare at him and he changed tacks. You need someone to go first to let the others know how it's done and to put the girls at ease. There's no one I could trust with this responsibility. Paul. Right? He turned to Nick and Josh, arms outstretched.
Oh, I know that's right.
Oh, I know that's right. I'm right, aren't I? This is a great idea, isn't it? Nick blushed furiously. I mean, it isn't a bad idea. I heaved a heavy sigh. And how is this supposed to help your campaign exactly? Publicity, of course. I massaged my temples. There was no way he would let me out of it. In fact, I could see him literally smacking me over the head and throwing me on stage before I could see him letting me get away with this. Fine. Fine, I'll do it. He grabbed my hands, pulling them to his chest in that unfamiliar way of his.
Really?
Hana, you are angel of Hana, you angel of angels! If you don't win the campaign after this, I will haunt you to your grave. Doesn't that just mean you'd follow me around for the rest of your life? I'm more than up for that. I sighed and made my way behind the platform booth. Oh my god. It was a slightly chilly day. The sun wasn't out, and I expected that to thin the crowds, but my expectations were incorrect. A fair chunk of boys and a handful of incredibly excited girls soon filled the seats, and when 11 o'clock finally hit, Paul took the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you from the depths of my heart for attending the first annual Asagao date auction, or as it will henceforth be known, ADA. There was a small smattering of applause. Evidently, the crowd just wanted him off the stage. As you know, this is a fundraiser for the school, so we have a few rules to follow. First, keep it civil. Second, please raise your hand when you're ready to bid. Third, the participant has the right to refuse your company without explanation, so don't go acting like you're genuinely buying people. This is just a volunteer thing, for fun. Do you understand me? A slow grumble floated through the crowd. Do you understand me? A random assortment of affirmations skidded across the crowd. I wasn't sure that truly counted, but Paul seemed satisfied. All right. Well, all right then. Would our first lady of the evening please take the stage? My heart leapt in my throat. What would my father do if he could see me now? I pulled back the flimsy curtain and stepped onto the stage, trying with all my heart to maintain my dignity. Paul motioned at me with his hands, indicating that I should walk around the stage and twirl or something? I slowly traced the outlines of the stage and performed a few begrudging spins while Paul read a little bio he had obviously prepared the night before. Hana Mizuno, 16, is currently my campaign manager and a potential Normal Boots Club member. She has a big heart and an even bigger mouth when she finds the courage to use it. Friends adore her. Hobbies include reading, drawing, and somehow winding up in all sorts of unexpected circumstances. Winner gets to take her to a standard dinner. You're paying, though. She's a classy cat. Paul! I shot him a glare and he chuckled. We'll start the bidding at 1,000 yen. Now came the moment I was most terrified of. The opportunity for utter humiliation. And before Nick jumps up, 10,000! I stood in the center of the stage, hands clasped, eyes towards the floor. Alright, 1,000! Do we have 1,500? Do I see 1,500? 1,500, wonderful! I glanced up in shock. Absolutely no idea who would care enough to bid on me. Oh no! Oh no! And found Josh with an arm raise, glaring across the seats at another man with his arm raised. Oh, could it be Nick? Oh, Nick? Oh no! Oh, that problem when all three of these guys like you, but you only like one of them, but he's the one that doesn't like you. And we have 2,000. We have 4,000.
Whoa!
Oh wow, 4,000. 5,000. 6,000. What I first assumed to be a pity bid soon turned into an all-out battle. The numbers rose and rose until the audience itself was gasping with each new offering. Nick pulled out his wallet and started counting the coins in it while Josh started asking people around him to borrow some cash. 10 yen more! Well, I've got 55 yen. Wait, I found 80 yen! After several more minutes of counting spare yen coins, the tension somehow never dying, Paul slammed his gavel on the podium. Look, you both win. You can both take her out on a date, okay? Just let us live the rest of our lives.
But what the what?
But that's not fair! Too bad. My auction. He pounds the gavel again and gave me a thumbs up. It was my cue to leave, and I sprinted behind the platform with immense relief. Several girls congratulated me as I dashed through, patting me on the back. Other girls glared at me. If they had poison, I would have been dead by the end of the day. I crept to the back of the audience and took a seat myself, watching the rest of the auction unfold. I would date Hana. I would throw all my money at that. Mimi Santos sold for 4,000 yen, getting to take it to the beach by a much younger boy. She seemed satisfied. Kakusu, on the other hand, was bid on by a few people, including one particularly enthusiastic girl, but eventually bought herself out of the auction. Good. Good, then. Finally, it was time for the last bit of the day. The audience was restless. Most of them had already gotten their dates, and the sudden return of the sun on Saturday afternoon was making them antsy. Paul held up a hand. I know you're all prepared to leave, but have I got a treat for you? Oh my God! Are we gonna bid on Joshua? Please! Please tell me we're gonna bid on Joshua. Our final girl is an eccentric, an artist, a genius. Truly, there is nobody with such a caring heart. Nobody with the spunk. Nobody with the vocal cords quite like her. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you... Oh, my Sasaki! Jared, now is your chance to bid on my... I spit the drink I'd been sipping onto the empty chair in front of me. Wow! She dressed in her bikini, too! Wow! Hello, world! I stepped onto the stage in nothing but her swimsuit. Loud gasps echoed across the audience. Let's start at 5,000 yen. What do you say? She winked at the crowd. I hope you girls put up a fight this time, too. As I watched in bewilderment, the nubbles racked higher and higher. Paul could hardly keep up with the bids that came flooding in, mostly from red-cheeked girls. Wow, that's so good. I had no idea Mai was so popular as a date, but something told me these people had never even spoken to her. Mai was an acquired taste, after all. And 22,000 yen! Going once, going twice. Paul slammed his gavel, then beamed.
All right.
And we're done! Thank you all so much for your joyous participation and enjoy your dates! As the crowd dispersed, I made my way backstage to find Mai and Paul. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Nick and Josh sulking off together and decided to pop by them first. Can't have the best date with her because I'm going to... Hey! Oh my God, I'm dead! Oh, that's so good! This is the greatest CG in this game, hands down. Wow! Oh, I love it. It's so good. No, I'm going to have the best date with her. You don't. They didn't even notice me behind them, too invested in their own stupid argument. Guys, come on! Sparks were practically shooting from their eyes. Hey!
Hey!
Whoa! Hey, Hana!
Uh...
I didn't notice you there. Well, looks like we're going on a triple date. Yeah, I guess we are. Thank you, for betting on me. I bowed quickly. So, Hana.
See you later.
Oh, sorry. I have to go find Mai. I waved and dashed off before they could say anything else. I found Mai backstage cackling madly with Paul. You never told me you were going to enter, and with your swimsuit on, too. You didn't ask. Are you going to be okay with it? Yeah, definitely. Because I'm not even going. What? I was hoping Jared would be out there. If it's not Jared, then no dice. I stared at her in utter shock. She winked. My mom's not a businesswoman for nothing. By the way, did you like your bio? That was... You were in on that? Oh, Hana. We talked about this. I want you to expand your horizons, to fly like ever so many blooming birds into the deepening sunset. This seems like a great way to do that. Your date will be next Thursday, the night before the election. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. I can't believe I'm going on a date with Nick and Josh. Well, only go if you want to. Paul shrugged, waiting for my answer. I guess it'll be fun. Or at the very least, interesting. Then you're going. There you go. His tone was flat, and I looked at him in concern. He shrugged again. I've got some cleanup to do, and you already helped enough. Just head back inside. I glanced at Mai, wondering whether she also noticed Paul's weird vibe, but she simply smiled at me. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let's see. I've got audio. Let's see. I've got audio. Let's see if anybody else lost audio. I've got it, so I think we should be okay. Yeah, I've got audio, so. Okay, you still have audio. Alright, I just want to make sure that in general, we still have audio. Okay, good. Let's go back in. I've got this new show I want you to see about this enchanted duck. I glanced over my shoulder at Paul while we left, but all he was doing was staring at the microphone cords on the ground, completely immobile. Paul, you had your chance. Well, Nick and Josh would take care of him. Definitely. The next week passed by slowly, grumpily. As the date of the election drew nearer, Paul got more and more irritable. He spent hours drafting his speech and then trying it out on us, changing huge portions of it when he didn't get the reactions he anticipated. Nick and Josh, on the other hand, grew increasingly restless as Thursday neared. Our date, after all, was set for Thursday. So you're ready for tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be fun. Thanks again for spending on me, I guess. I was worried nobody would. What? Why on earth would you worry about that? You're a precious person, so... Josh turned red and Nick took over. We'll pick you up this evening, right? I nodded. On the other side of the room, Paul sighed loudly, an obvious cue that we should stop talking. I can see you're very busy, so I think I'm gonna head out early. Nick and Josh waved to me, but Paul leapt to his feet. You're leaving? Is that okay?
Well...
Oh. He glanced aimlessly around the room. Eventually, his eyes fell on a piece of chalk, and he pointed to it with utmost intensity.
Yeah.
You need to help me brainstorm.
What?
Brainstorm? Brainstorm what? Paul is now desperately trying to backtrack with his feelings for Hana. Oh, Paul. Oh, Paul, oh, Paul, oh, Paul. Audience motivating gestures. Aha. Paul snapped his fingers into finger guns and clicked his teeth. See? I'm hopeless without you. Looks to me like you've got gestures handled. But I stepped into the hallway, closing the door behind me, and headed for my dorm. It wasn't that I didn't want to spend time with Paul. It was just that after everything that happened, I wasn't sure I'd be able to handle it. I had to put my feelings and my emotional health first. When the knock came at my door, I was dressed and ready. I glanced at Mai, who nodded solemnly and gave me a thumbs up. It was time.
Hey.
Hey guys, ready to rock?
Look at you.
Oh, that was really cute. That was really cute. What is Paul doing, reality? He is backtracking because he does have feelings for Hana now, and he feels weird that she's going on a date with his two best friends, and if he liked it, he should have put a proverbial ring on it. Too bad. Bye, Paul. I giggled and did a quick twirl. Thanks. We set off across the campus, heading again for the Higanbana Mall. It was weird. The last time I went to the Higanbana Mall, I believed I was on my second first date. My real first date. This time I actually was on my first date. In fact, this probably constituted as more of a first date than either of the others. Well, kinda. At least you know it for sure this is a date. The difference is that this time, I was the one void of romantic intent. I was nervous, especially with my suspicion that Josh and Nick had feelings for me that I didn't reciprocate. Well, nice to know that she was smart enough to realize that. Part of me even felt they knew I didn't have any feelings for them. In that way, this date was more like a conciliatory offering. A parting gift, an expression of regret on my part. They didn't know that I was hung up on Paul. At least I hope they didn't. That would make things awkward for them. No, the best thing I could do was try to relax and have fun. Hana, you okay? Huh? I sat down in my reverie. Josh and Nick were looking at me in that way that only meant I had a decision to make. What's up? Do you want Thai or Mexican? Thai. That would be my choice. Apparently the answer is you pick. I was not in the mood for picking sides. Not today, not right before the election, not right before the tournament. Mexican it is then. Nick scowled, but for once he didn't seem like he wanted to tussle with Josh. Instead, Josh led us to a colorful restaurant, the interior wall set up like a Spanish mesa. The waitress greeted Josh warmly and, with eyebrows raised, as Nick and me led to a secluded table hidden from the windows. This is my usual spot. No doubt they're surprised you brought actual people with you this time. Actually, yes. The waitress got our drink orders and was about to leave when Nick tapped her elbow. Maybe please get some candles? She raised an eyebrow but nodded. The customer was always right. Josh shot Nick a glare, then cleared his throat. So, Hana, please tell me more about your interests. He leaned forward, placing his elbows on the table. Seeing this, Nick mimicked him. My interests? Yeah, your interests are so fascinating. I would love to hear you talk about them. Well, I've been busy with the election and the tournament, so I haven't really had time. The tournament! Nick and Josh traded guilty looks. Don't tell me you haven't been practicing. We share a dorm room with Paul, so of course things are a bit hectic right now. I had a feeling that they were going to be like the odd idea out. That they were going to be the weird ones that had a 3-person dorm room and that they were all dorming together. Obviously. Paul's the 1/3 of our team anyway. There's not much hope for us as long as he's so worked up. Does he always get this bad? Nick huffed. It is a bit weird, I think. He's usually very cool under pressure, but this year he's been all over the place. He has more writing on it this time. That's true, but Paul's always the optimist out of the 3 of us. When something real bad happens, he's always got a game plan. Recently, he's been acting like his actual life is on the line. The waitress came back with our drinks. I sipped my pink lemonade happily and ordered my meal. You'd like an appetizer too, if you don't mind. And a dessert menu, if you would. Guys, I'm not sure I'll be able to eat all that. I mean, you could order it for yourself, but... Nonsense! Don't worry about decorum. I won't judge you for eating a ton. Nick flashed me a thumbs up as Josh ordered 2 separate appetizers and a full cheesecake for dessert. I quailed in my seat. I had never been pampered like this, if pampered was even the right word. Oh, your mom heard me, is Pep? Is that what happened? Oh my goodness. I hope she doesn't hate me now. My father and I rarely went out to eat, and when we did, it was to celebrate some accomplishment. Straight A's in my report card, a birthday, a big sale that came through the shop. I couldn't help but feel guilty that spending this much money on food. And it was someone else's money to boot. What are you thinking about? I jumped, shaken from my reverie. I almost forgot they were there, but they again gazed at me as if I held the answer to all the world's problems. My dad? Oh! Tell us more about this, Dad. His name is Asagao, and I miss him a lot. He's an artist. He makes pottery for a living. A sculptor. Have you seen any of his works? No, they're local things. I think back when my mom was around, an artist did some sketches of her arrangements. I was told she was really gifted with flowers. Nick nodded. That explains how you came to be. How I... What? Oh, he was paying you a cute compliment, Hana! I thought it was cute. Anyway. Nick, I would date you, okay? It's all good. The waitress set down 2 plates of smorgasbord and Josh spread his hands like a magi. Eat whatever you like, my dear. Thanks, but I'd rather just wait for my meal. Nick shook his head. So modest, so humble. Increasingly uncomfortable, I was relieved when my food arrived and Nick and Josh's odd questions and commentary were put to a stop. I don't think I said anything too terrible when you thought I lost audio. Mostly when I saw your message, I just stopped and did my own audio check to make sure that I was still hearing audio out of the stream myself. All of us were starving, especially since we skipped our regularly scheduled academy dinner. The food was pretty good, and I managed to eat about half my plate so I could save the rest for a snack or a dinner I missed. I do that all the time. When the waitress came to take the plate, she set down a rather large complete cheesecake. At this point, even Nick and Josh realized the error of their ways. She slid the check between Nick and Josh and went on her way. Josh grabbed it and dragged it towards him. Of course, I will pay for everything tonight. No, I will pay. The lady deserves only the best, after all. I don't think she cares whose money it is, guys. Why don't you split the check? He pulled the check towards him. But I've already claimed it. Back to Josh. And then to Nick. And back again. I sipped the last of my drink as the check turned to a blur between them. Eventually they agreed to split the bill, and they had a lengthy argument about proper tips. See? Josh scrawled a large 5 and then a 3 even larger zeros after it. I like to treat service workers well because I treat even the people who are not close to me like they are valuable human beings. Nick followed suit with the same number. I don't like to brag about how much I tip. I like my actions to speak for themselves. These two! It was the most taxing hour I ever experienced. When we finally came back to the campus, they both clamored to walk me to my room. Let me, I'll do it. No, that's not necessary. Thank you. But you're a lady and a gentleman should. That's quite all right. I need to go get something. So please, go on without me. But I insist. You guys aren't listening to me. With that one statement of fact, both boys snapped straight. Right! Thank you so much for joining us on this date, Hana. Yes, I truly appreciate it. But I appreciate it more. Just go! Jesus Christ, guys! The two jumped and seeing the look on my face sit down the walkway at twice the usual speed. I sighed. I liked them both. Really, I did, but there was no way I could handle the two of them together, alone, without Paul's help. The wind rustled through the leaves around me, almost sounding like a person walking by. I sighed again. Even now I thought of him. I stumbled towards Poppy in the ever-deepening darkness, tired thoughts floating before me like petals. Why did Nick and Josh both like me? Why? I hadn't done anything special for either of them, at least not enough to deserve such intense feelings. It made me uneasy, especially since they could tell I wasn't interested. That was no reason not to spend time with them as friends, as long as it wasn't awkward and they understood that I didn't reciprocate. These were the thoughts racing through my mind when I heard something clatter on the ground behind me and I whirled around. Ow! Don't you dare come anywhere near me! I will kick you 3 ways to China! Oh, Caddy? It's just, oh! Caddy! Huh? Caddy! Huh? Huh? A trembling Caddy stood in front of me, cradling something shiny in his arms. You okay? You don't look so great. Hana, please don't tell anyone about this. Confused I drew closer to him, the objects becoming clearer as I did. Don't worry, I'm out after curfew too, so I would also... I stopped. The objects in Caddy's arms stood out to me in sharp relief. Caddy was holding guns. What? What? I stared at him, not daring to move. It's really not what it looks like. These are... I use them for... I'm not going to hurt anybody with them. I only hurt games with them. Games. Yeah, if it's really good, I send floating up to heaven, and if it's absolute shit, I torture with a laser. He deserves whether things deserve to be slaughtered or salvaged. That's what Kenny does. It's not. You have guns with which you use to shoot video games.
Well...
I know it sounds weird, but it really cements but it's really cements to me and I'm done with it. Then we can part ways and both move on with our lives. It's a form of closure. Look, you don't have to understand, but I ask that you at least don't report this. I swear, I absolutely swear I will not use these on every living creature, so help me God. I took a slow, deep breath. I'm going to pretend I didn't see anything, okay?
Really?
Fucking catty. In the meantime, you're going to toss those somewhere safe, preferably the Pacific Ocean. And if I ever see them again, you're going to be in such hot water you won't even feel your skin peeling off. Got it? That's bloody graphic, Hannah. Got it? Right. I got it.
Farewell.
Thanks again, Hannah. You won't regret this. I nodded happily. Oh my god. Oh, that was good. Caddy wouldn't harm a fly on a person's head. I had no doubts about that, even if those guns glinting in the lamplight were the scariest things I'd ever seen. I hoped my faith wouldn't go unfulfilled. As I reached the fork bent between Primrose and Bluebell, I heard another rustling somewhere behind me again and whirled around. Who's there this time? To my immense surprise, Paul stood, body half in and half out of one of Asagao's manicured bushes. A styrofoam box, not all that different from mine, in his hands. Paul? Is that what it looks like? I wasn't following you. I just had a sudden hankering for a burrito, that's all. Paul.
Well...
Oh, I'm off. Busy day tomorrow with the election and all. Have a good sleep, don't get injured, eat your veggies and all that. Paul jumped back into the hedgerow. Slowly, the rustling and chubbing of the bushes faded away as Paul headed to Bluebell House. I guess he just really didn't want to get caught? No, it was better not to think too much about it. I had bigger things on my mind. Oh my gosh, you know what? Reality, that was my first thought too, was that it was going to be the boots. But being that they thought that Hana and Mai stole the boots and that was a big issue in Satch's storyline, I figured that it probably wasn't, but I definitely had that thought for a second there. Oh, in your route, there was a choice at that. Well, maybe the choices that I made were different than yours? I don't know. I'm done with all the choices. I think that that last choice that I picked was the last one on the list for his walkthrough. The sun had barely risen that morning, the day of the election speeches. I guess I might as well go for another hour. I don't like these videos on YouTube to be so long, but screw it. Let's do it, guys. I changed clothes hastily, heart in my throat. The election speeches would be happening in the theater, which Asagao apparently used as its auditorium. It wasn't a mandatory attendance type of thing, and given the early hour of the speeches, so they wouldn't interfere with classes, I had a feeling only the students who cared most would show up. But then, the students who cared most were our core audience. They were the hardest to sway, and they had settled on a candidate. They were the ones who were actually going to bother to vote, and whose opinions would be sought when the day came. It was important for Paul to win them to his side, and he was trading on faith. Faith that wasn't so steadfast after last year. As I crept to the stage, Jeff raised a cheery hand towards me. Huh. Ouch. I stepped past him and up to Paul, who was sitting in a chair, head in his hands. I don't know. I tweaked the speech so many times, but I don't know that it's going to make the impact that I want. I glanced around. Nick and Josh were nowhere to be found. Seeing my wandering eyes, Paul sighed. I told them to come later. I wanted plants in the audience to laugh at my jokes, just in case. That's not the worst idea you've had. I put a hand on his shoulder, and then after a moment's hesitation began to massage them like I was pumping a boxer. You put so much work into this. At this point, if it doesn't work out, there's nothing you can do. It's just how it was supposed to go. But I wanted to go my way. I peered into his face. There were dark bags under his eyes. It looked like he hadn't slept a wink. And yet, he used his precious time to eat out last night, and then followed me home in the bushes. I chuckled softly. You do everything 100%, don't you? I try. If you give everything your best shot, you have no regrets in the end. That's a pretty good statement, Paul. I find that to be, that's pretty good. Yeah, what happens if you report Caddy? I don't know. I didn't get that choice. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it was another choice I made. That's a lot of pressure. Can't you cut yourself some slack? He shook his head fervently, then suppressed a yawn. People deserve the best of me. I deserve the best of me, too. You don't owe anybody anything. Is It's not about debt, it's about responsibility. He reached up and put a hand over mine. I froze. He smiled up at me. Thanks, Hana. No, for what? I'm just glad that after everything that's happened, I still know I can count on you. I slipped my hand from under his and clamped them behind my back. Yep. People are going to be coming in a second. Do you want me in the audience, or...? Please, I'd like to mentally prepare myself. I nodded and headed into the audience to find myself a good seat. As I passed, Jeff and Ian paused to watch me go. Their eyes followed me into my seat, and I waved happily at them. Yay! Ian is the Hana of the Hidden Block group! Caddy says, I knew you were great no matter what Shane said about you. You know? Shane. I definitely deserve that. The room slowly filled with more people than I imagined. As I scanned the crowd, noticing girls with their heads buried together, comparing notes on Jeff and Paul's platforms, and boys arguing about who would win in a sword fight, I started to think Paul was right. The election was closer than I anticipated. Should I have worked harder to help him? We got so little done in that amount of time that I almost wanted to go back and strangle myself for not working harder when I had the chance. In a distant corner, Nick's head bounced around. Josh was in the other corner, arms over the back of the empty chair next to him. No one even bothered to ask him whether they could take it. Finally, it was time for them to deliver their speeches. Paul's was first, and he took the stage to cheers from the students around him. I gave him a thumbs up, and he grinned when he found me in the crowd. Without taking his eyes off me, he pulled out his notes and began to orate. Students! My fellow Asagao students, it is I, your current standing president, Paul Ritchie. The crowd cheered. I smiled at him, and he reflexively smiled back. The time has come to choose who is worthy of being your next class president. As might be expected, I am hoping to have a second term. This is a responsibility you must take very seriously, and I would hope that... He wasn't looking away. Why wasn't he looking away from me? Badass with a leather jacket and steel-tinted smile. He was just staring at me, dead staring at me from across the room like a stalker. I remembered the bushes and wondered whether that was more true than I thought. Must rise up! Rise up and seek justice! You want the truth? You can't handle the truth! It was hard to concentrate on his speech, so intense was his gaze, so furiously and passionately he was speaking. I had a dream once. I had a dream of proper funding for club activities rather than having to depend on our parents for even more of our livelihoods. People called us spoiled, and why should we let them be correct? Even if his words weren't reaching me, his feelings were. Paul's sincerity came across everything he did, from the look in his still staring eyes, to the way he's flung his arms out, to the fact that he was no longer even using his notes. A loud laugh came from me, and I realized Paul had made his joke. Rippling giggles floated through across the audience, and Paul smiled. So I say to you, we will not go quietly into the night! We will not vanish without a fight! Today, we celebrate our independence from Asagao's frankly horrible club budgeting, fundraising, and exploitative system. Today, we celebrate our financial independence. Paul flung his note cards across the stage, and the flourish of the crowd stood with roaring applause. I jumped up and punched the air, and Paul pointed at me and gave me a thumbs up. He nailed it! As he headed backstage, passing Jeff on his way up, his shoulders slumped. The energy left him. His lack of sleep from the night before, probably several nights before, finally caught up to him. I crept out of my seat and along the aisle as Jeff took his position on stage, script in hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you an idea for consideration. The Galactic Empire! What? That opening line almost made me want to stay and listen to the rest of his speech, but Paul needed me. I ducked backstage. Oh. Fucking space hamster! I can't with him! Oh my gosh. Okay. Paul. Paul was laying flat on the ground, hands over his eyes. I ran to his side. Oh my god, Paul, are you okay? Are you sick? Did you overwork yourself? You stupid... Paul waved a hand. Fine, I'm just processing. I heaved a sigh of relief. You did it! You had a great speech! Did I don't remember much about it. Did people laugh? They did! Did people clap? A standing ovation!
Oh, sick!
Paul let out a slow, deep breath. I watched him carefully. Here. I patted my lap. Paul moved his hand. What? You're tired, aren't you? The floor is no place for a nap. I tried to make it sound no nonsense, like having Paul's head in my lap was absolutely no consequence to me, but the heat in my face told me I didn't succeed. Paul? He stared at me for a few seconds, the moment so long I was about ready to turn tail when he scooted across the floor and laid his head on my lap. You alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Are you comfortable? I saw a smile across his lips. Very. Very cute. I like it. We stayed like that for a while. I ran my hands gently through his hair, giving what I hoped was a relaxing scalp massage. Eventually, Paul's breathing leveled, and I realized he had fallen asleep. It was nice. But oh my god, were my legs cramping? Eventually, thunderous applause ran out on stage. I knew Jeff's speech was over. I nudged Paul awake and he rose, a drunk kitten after a nap by the fire. How long was I out? You're good. Jeff just ended. Class will start soon. Paul nodded, clearly not currently a part of this world. Thank you. No problem. Paul grabbed me around the shoulders and pulled me into a hug, burying his face into the side of my neck. You're great. Wait, you're not drunk, are you? Paul sighed contentedly, and I gently peeled his hands from around me. We have to go to class. And we're not dating, remember? You basically turned me down. I thought it, but I didn't say it. He didn't need more stress, not with the tournament and the election literally in the next 2 days. But part of me was a little upset. Just because he knew I felt that way about him, he thought it was okay to exploit it? He really has the best intentions. If you can believe in that, you'll overcome everything. Mr. Saitomo's voice floated across the backstage speakers, and I jumped. Something wrong? No. I said and dusted off my skirt. Let's get to class then. He nodded sleepily. Let's. No meeting today either. We'll be practicing for the tournament. Finally. I giggled and Paul smiled. I'll see you tomorrow then. He held up a fist to me. Good luck. We're gonna kill that ish. It's tournament time, ladies and gentlemen! Woohoo! Paul pushes himself so hard, I really worry about him. Oh, we lost some tournament points. Oh, that's not good. Oh, well, I'm pretty sure that 20 is what you need to win, so I think we still should be good. I woke the next morning, eyes scratchy and head spinning. Apparently, the stress of the day before took its toll. I felt almost sick as I put on my uniform and tried to talk myself down. Sure, I hadn't prepared at all, but I could still win, right? Strategy is always, right? I stepped out into the fresh spring air, taking a deep breath. My event was one of the first, so I had to be there earlier than most. I set my shoulders and started across campus. Let's do it! The arcade at which the tournament was being held was much smaller than I expected. I felt like I had some kind of convention, but instead it was a small local arcade filled with machines. Smaller rooms split off, which were probably where the individual competitions would take place throughout the day. A few people milled about the space, generally older folk in their 20s and 30s. Hey! I'm one of those older folk. Gosh darn it. I glanced at the agenda in my hand and made my way to one of the back rooms. Oh, here we go. When I entered the competition room, I found 2 chairs on an elevated platform, a computer and projector sitting in between them. Ian sat in one of the chairs, looking bored out of his mind. Ian!
Hey.
It's about time you showed up. I was starting to get worried you died. Aw, it's sweet of you to be concerned. Is it? Yeah. I got into the chair next to him. A man came over to check my name and club affiliation. I said I was a member of the Normal Boots Club, a small surge of pride making me sit up straight as I did. Oh, I made you lol? Okay, good. I don't know what it was but I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad you find me funny. There were chairs lined up for people to watch us compete, and to my surprise, the entire room soon filled. I searched the crowd to find the guys. There they were! They came to support me. All of them. I smiled, excitement flooding through me, and then was struck with terror. There was nothing like the threat of failing in front of all the people you cared about. As I stared worriedly into the crowd, a blur of movement caught my eye. Oh, Waleed, are you being a sneaky snake? Are you shenanigans all over? Ah, Waleed was sitting with the rest of the Hidden Block Club, beaming at me. When he saw me looking, he waved enthusiastically. Ian rolled his eyes.
Really?
That's my favorite Ian line. Really? Would it kill you to root for your own teammate? I giggled. Why is Waleed so excited to see us? Jesus Christ. Finally, the lights around us dimmed and the projector started up. The main menu of Dumbadoom's Revenge on screen. It was time to start. As the MC began his introduction and explained the rules of the game, Ian turned to me, a smirk on his face. Sure you're ready for this? You bet I am. Ready to go? The man turned to us and Ian and I nodded. I'm excited to see if we win. I believe we should. Then 3, 2, 1, start! The game began. My favorite song in the whole game. Immediately, I immediately clicked to fill my screen with 2 more lines of blocks. Ian began working with what he had. I scanned the blocks for the pink cards, eliminating them one by one, making combos where I could. I still wasn't advanced enough to plan tons of combos ahead of time, but I could make it much more likely for combos to happen through probability. Oh, kids, Ian's voice is very nice. It's one of my favorite aesthetic aspects of him, I suppose you could say. He's also very nice to look at to boot, but, you know. The pinks were all but gone. Green leaves were next. Dumbadoom started flipping at the top of the screen. Ian must be comboing, which meant I had a few seconds before those blocks would fall. I set up a combo on top of the screen and started eliminating the orange blocks below it. Then it happened. A 6 combo jumped out at me from the screen. My eyes crossed as I stared at it in shock. I just had to move the top block over one space. Then as quickly as I saw it, it vanished. The blocks looked normal again. You're dead! Ian's blocks fell upon my humble kingdom and I slid the combo into place. 2, 3, 4 combo, 5 combo, 6 combo, 7 combo, 8 combo! And Ian attacks converted into blocks and hovered above mine. I set several more combos and waited for them to fall. Ian's everything is beautiful as Pep, let's be honest. The guy is just, he seems like just a cool person in general. 10 combo, legendary! Dumbadoom farted out rainbows over Ian's zone, and then blocks. So many blocks. They didn't come in a chunk, they came in a torrential downpour, all over Ian's side, sliding from left to right and back again. Alright, so I guess we're gonna win. Ian blinked, his hands and eyes moving frantically over the screen. I wasn't sure he'd ever seen something like that before. I sure hadn't. I continued to combo while this was happening, but at this point there was no need. Ian's screen filled up. He could try to make combos until the very end, but game over! That was it! I won. I stared, dumbfounded at the screen in front of me. Ian's mouth hung open. The room was silent. Then...
Whoa!
Yeah, Hana!
Yeah.
I knew you could do it! I glanced up to see the room applauding, all of it. Even the Hidden Block Club. The announcer was gaping at the screen. I've never seen a score that high. Certain I was as red as a tomato, I stood to climb down the platform. Not so fast. Ian stepped in front of me, grim as always. I braced myself for his infamous sarcasm. But to my surprise, he laughed. Oh, and that laugh too, you guys.
Hana.
That was a hell of a game, Hana. That's exactly what I wanted from you. He held a hand in the air and I looked at it in confusion. Don't leave me hanging. Yeah. Oh! I high-fived him and he clasped my hand in his. Thanks, Hana. That was fun. Then he disappeared into the pressing crowd. I wiggled my way through all the people, eager to find Continue. They weren't usually hard to find, even in a crowded room.
Yeah.
Hana! Hell yeah! Congratulations! He pulled me into a hug and I blushed furiously, practically throwing him off me. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have...
Yeah!
Hell yeah, girl! You kicked some serious ass! Josh flicked an imaginary tear from his eye. I've never been prouder. I chuckled. Thanks, you guys. Isn't your event soon? We're up next, actually. You'll watch, won't you? Of course! Paul, Nick, and Josh crossed not to another room of the arcade, but to the main arcade room, where a small crowd gathered around a fighting game. Are you ready to get your asses kicked? I was wondering who the trio was gonna be. It's Wally, Jimmy, and Caddy! Ha! Really, dude? Us?
Oh, I know that's right.
I love that sound. That is just the greatest sound clip, but I love that they used it so many times. There's no way you could beat our teamwork. It just won't happen. Say what you want about your teamwork. We're like brothers. We're telepathic. Yeah, we'll make something blow up on you if we have to. Caddy's eyes slid to me, and he patted Waleed and Jimmy on the shoulders. No, we won't. No, we won't. We're very civilized people here. Caddy. That's a terrible way to intimidate someone. The MC took the 6 guys' names on the clipboard, then smiled. The tag team beat 'em up is about to start. Who will be playing first? Nick and Waleed raised their hands. The MC gestured to the cabinet, and the two assumed their positions. That was the word I was looking for. Jimmy's reality. That's not nice. It is funny though. Jimmy is adorable. He's a super cutie. I have to agree. To switch out, shout tag. You'll be switching out in real time, so if you make any mistake due to shoddy communication, that's your own fault. The 3 nodded grimly. For all we knew, the result of the tournament depended on this. Hold on 1 second, guys. Ow. Josh and Paul stretched themselves out, then assumed their strategic locations behind Nick. 3, 2, 1, start! I had no idea why he had to shout that for the match to start, because the pair simply selected their characters, but one way or another, the battle commenced. Nick and Waleed were well matched in the beginning, each taking small hits and attempting combos that the other immediately deflected. It was a tense battle, both hunched frustratingly close to the screens. I almost couldn't make anything out. Tag! Josh! Nick spun with a flourish away from the machine, and Josh leapt in, dealing a several-hit combo on Waleed, who was surprisingly unprepared for the lower targeted hits Josh was throwing. After getting half of Waleed's health out, Jimmy raised his fists. Tag! I'm going in! He pulled Waleed out of off the shoulder, who seemed to have forgotten that other people were even waiting to play. Jimmy and Josh went back and forth against each other, each managing to land a combo at some point, but it was slow going. Josh was clearly trying to go for environmental kills, and Jimmy stayed well away from those locations, making the match somewhat of a stalemate. Josh's health lowered and lowered until finally it seemed like just one hit would do him in. Then Jimmy lunged. Tag! Paul! Josh spun away from the machine in a graceful pirouette, and Paul leaped into action. Is that why they were dancing? Were they practicing, like, moving in and out and tagging in and out? Because that's actually sort of adorable. He pummeled his fist into Jimmy's face and unleashed a ferocious combo that Jimmy wasn't able to extract himself from. Tag! Caddy! Caddy jumped onto the machine, pulling himself away from Paul's attacks. They were both on their last leg of life, prowling around each other like wary tigers. One miss from either of them meant the match and possibly the tournament. I had no idea how they were keeping their cool. Actually, Paul looks like he's keeping his cool. Caddy looks upset. So, Caddy, I never knew you and Ian were such close friends. Moosey and I are not friends! Yay! I love that. I love that they had him call him Moosey. The videos that Caddy and Brutal Moose do together are fantastic. They're so funny. Caddy slammed his fist on the arcade cabinet, and in that moment of distraction, Paul pulled a swift kick to his ankles. Caddy crumpled like a pop balloon, and the match was won.
Yay!
Paul! Paul, you did it! I ran to hug him, only to find myself squished underneath Nick and Josh, who were hugging him as well. We formed a single 4-human entity, a malformation bobbing up and down in front of the arcade cabinet. Yes, yes, wonderful, wonderful. If you don't mind, please relocate. This is turning into a bit of a traffic jam. With With the match called, the MC thanked the crowd and ushered everybody away from the machines. The day was free play for tournament players, but not for anybody else, and he seemed to get keen to get the arcade their money's worth. Yes, Moosey, kids. Moosey. We peeled ourselves off each other. So what do you say we go play some games? I thought you'd never ask. We probably wouldn't even have noticed the MC taking the stage to announce the winner if he hadn't cleared his throat like he had pneumonia. When he was sure he had everybody's attention, he smiled charmingly. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's tournament is, unsurprisingly, the Normal Boots Club! Woohoo! We won, you guys! I screamed and clapped and we swarmed on stage. The poor MC didn't know what hit him. As we celebrated, Paul grabbed the microphone. Please, everyone! I am proud to announce the newest addition to the Normal Boots Club, our lovely campaign manager, and the most tolerant angel on the face of this woeful earth, Hana Mizuno. Hana deserves it, man. She went through hell and back in this storyline, man. The boys cheered as Josh pulled me to the front of the stage. Nick said something around my shoulders and I looked down to find a brand new Normal Boots jacket over my standard uniform. I beamed at Paul and he gave me a thumbs up and a wink. Yeah. Well then, we'll see you all again next year. Paul handed the microphone to the MC, then pulled me, Nick, and Josh in next to him. It's great that we won, really it is. But our weekend isn't over yet. No, it wasn't. Tomorrow was the day of the actual voting. The election results would be decided. Suddenly sobered, we decided to head back to campus for a day of tense attempts at relaxation, one word throbbing in each of our minds. Tomorrow. Oh, let's see how this turns out, guys. I don't know. Considering Asagao was such a rich school, I expected the voting process to be a little more technological. Instead, students lined up to grab paper ballots and turn them in. Ballots that were then tallied and handed to the teachers manning the voting booth. I also expected a sizable turnout, but apparently I thought wrong. The votes were tallied up in almost no time, despite Miss Shizuka and Mr. Saitomo chortling at each other like childhood friends. When the ballot was finally done, the results were placed in a sealed envelope and given to the standing president to read before the auditorium and voters who stayed for the results. Standing president, meaning Paul. With a grim set to his jaw, he carefully peeled the envelope open. Your new acting president for this year is... Oh my god! Guys! 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 Guys, I'm really nervous. Who's gonna win? He lifted the card to his face, squinting at what it said. Me! It's me! Yes! We did it! Paul won! Yes! I'll look at that once we're off stream because it is a YouTube video, Pep. So like stick around in the chat and I'll look at it. But yeah. Paul looked up from the envelope, a smile of pure disbelief lighting his face. I won! I'm president again! It wasn't much of a formal announcement, but judging from the students' reactions, Paul could be forgiven just this once. A cheer rose up from the majority of the students, though a few made faces and sulked. I ran onto the stage and into Paul's arms, where he pulled me into a deep bear hug. Small popping noises went off above us, confetti sparkling from the ceiling. Ah! Ah! No! No! My feels have been assaulted! No! Look at how cute it is! Oh, this is a gorgeous CG too. I really love the way the confetti came out. That's awesome! Paul pulled away from me and tucked a stray bit of hair behind my ear. Hana, I have a bit of a confession to make. As much as I love honesty, I wasn't being honest to you or myself. As we spent more and more time together managing the campaign and messing ourselves silly, I found myself drawn to you. I thought it was just a matter of the election, that I wanted your skills or your aura. I knew Nick and Josh had a thing for you and I didn't want to step on their toes, so I did everything I could to convince myself my feelings weren't romantic, but I can't do that anymore. I followed you all on your date because the idea of someone else going on a date with you was driving me insane. And now I can finally admit that maybe it really wasn't the election that I wanted to win. My heart! Well, I mean, it was, definitely. It was, okay. But even more than that, I wanted to win your heart.
Paul.
Paul! 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 Oh, ow, my heart! That is the single cheesiest thing I've ever heard you utter. Really? Is it? I swear, I've said much worse things. Cheese, like craft style. I'm gonna need some bread to put that on it so bad. Paul rolled his eyes. Uh-huh. I'm sure. I'm sure you don't like it one bit. Well, I didn't say that. I giggled helplessly and Paul lifted me into the air, planting a swift kiss on my lips. Whoa! Yeah, Paul! Ha! Now what are you gonna do about it? Blushing furiously, I leaned in and kissed him back right there in front of everybody. Yeah, Hana! That's what I'm talking about. Go get your man, girl. Let them all know. Oi, oi! Lovebird, stop it. You're gonna make us all sick. Paul and I untangled ourselves from each other, blushing furiously. What on earth are we gonna do with you two? I swear that was the most painful thing in the world to watch. You two are so obvious. Obvious? I'm not obvious. In any case, Josh slung his arms around Nick and Paul's necks, who slung their arms around mine. I reciprocated until we were in football-like cuddle. It seems like we were always a four-person team. We just didn't know it. We're glad to have you on, Hana. I beamed. The days I spent watching the three of them have fun without me were long gone. Now, not only was I part of the Normal Boots Club, but also part of them. I'm so happy. Oh God, she's crying. What did we do? What did we do? Find some chocolate and a stuffed animal. Find anything comforting quick. These guys. As the three of them darted around the stage like maniacs, I giggled. It was the start of a great year. That was adorable! The credits started rolling and Paul paused the video. Well, what do you guys think? After months of work, the film club's first feature-length movie was complete, and the Normal Boots Club were the first privileged to see it. Paul, Nick, and Josh stared us down. We shifted uncomfortably. Oh, well, I mean, it's not bad, especially not for a student film. Yeah, definitely. I could see you put some thought into the cinematography, trying to make the third character in the story.
Right.
We did! Yeah, you tried. That was utter shite. Thank you, Shane! It wasn't that bad, though. Not for your first work. The three of them seemed to collapse in on themselves. It was as if Shane's words were a black hole and all their souls, and their souls all matter in the physical universe. Oh, man. Yeah, it's not a threesome anymore, it's a foursome now. Hell yeah. You definitely... You're only going up from here. You've never made a film before, and there's a lot of talent in here. Really, there is. Thanks, guys. I guess we'll just try harder. By the way, Honda, did you see Mai's latest column in the paper? Yeah! Yeah, Mai, get it, girl. As Paul, Nick, and Josh started the film club, they had to make some hard decisions. There was no way they'd be able to continue the continue column while also being in the Normal Boots Club, running a student council, and making films. When I told them about my secret ambition to be a writer, Paul's eyes lit up.
What?
Another aspiring writer? That's perfect! Absolutely perfect! Of course, Mai's personality translated particularly well to paper, coming through like a demented foghorn. Unfortunately, this meant people often had a bone to pick with her about her opinions and analyses. Yeah, she said Static Zoom actually wasn't that bad of a game. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you sure she's all right in the head? If she thinks Sonic Boom is not a bit... Mai, I love you, but I think that is an egregious sin. I can't, no. I can't. I could only hear Mai shouting, "It's for the greater good, I serve my muse and live only for the truth," without thinking about it. Honestly, I'm not too sure about that. Well, it was fun showing you guys this, but we're gonna have to get back to the council. Word has it Jeff has some ideas that can improve Asagao, and we don't want to keep him waiting. And you're working with Jeff. Beautiful. Paul wrapped an arm around my waist, and I grinned. Sure. Life at Asagao was never particularly easy, quiet, or calm. But it was, and would always be, fun. Alright. Alright, well, we'll hang around after the credits and see what scene is behind there, but that was really cute. It was also probably the most painful of all of the storylines I've done so far in this game, because the awkwardness, like, yeah, some of the things that happened in that story were painful, but it turned out really cute, and I thought it was adorable that, like, Hana just, like, up and kissed him straight in front of everybody. That was really cute. Really cute. I really enjoyed this one. I wasn't sure what I was going to feel about it, but I really... Yeah, it's the cringe factor. Reality, the cringe factor. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, but I love this game so much, you guys. I love it. I think I'm gonna be done with streaming until probably after next week. I don't know. I might get a stream in tomorrow, but I have a lot of stuff I have to do. I can't tell you guys what's going on because it involves someone that follows me on social media and stuff, and I can't tell you guys what's going on because I can't spoil things for the people involved, but I will, if you guys follow me on Twitter or on Tumblr, you will definitely know what's happening because I'll post about it when it happens. But yeah, I'm not gonna, yeah. Oh, wait till Shane's route. Oh, I am doing Shane's route last because I feel like I need to prepare for the pain. But I've heard it's very worth it. Mr. Saitomo sat in his desk chair, a contented sigh leaving his lips. It's always exciting to be involved in a good story. He pulled out several thick tomes from the bottom of his desk, searching for one in particular. Finally discovering an old red leather-bound book, he tossed it on top of his desk and took out a magnifying glass. The book itself was written in extremely fine print, and Mr. Saitomo's eyes were not the same they once were. It took him ages to locate the passage he was searching for. When he finished reading it, he sat back, a slight smile on his lips. It's so sad, Momoka. I wish you could see her now. She'll become something great, I know. She could hardly not with her peculiar talent. I hope you're not angry. She couldn't help it. He sighed, fingering his silver scarf at the edge of his desk. At least MOPS is an easy disease. You departed and felt no pain, and left a great legacy for your daughter to follow. But it's cruel. I suppose the main character's power have to come from somewhere. It would be unfair if they were simply born with more fortune than the rest of us. Whoa! 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 We just got, like, deep into, like, some Asagao lore here. Hold on! At some point, though, she will find out. She'll find a picture of herself when she was young, before her hair was pink. Back when her mother was still alive, before she was a protagonist. Are you saying that protagonists' mothers have to die? That's exactly what he's saying, and it's kind of true, too. He took a pipe and lit it, dropping a small amount of tobacco inside. I only hope she does not blame herself. Mother of the protagonist syndrome. Yes! It's a cruel world we live in. That was great.
Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club.
Oh, thank you, Caddy. Oh my gosh. Oh, man. Oh, man. That was really good. Alright, thank you guys so much for joining me for continues route. My next route that I will be doing will be Gerard's, and I'm super excited for that one because I've heard that one is really good. And then we're going to do Shane's, which I've heard is also really good but supremely painful, and I'm totally ready for it. So, thank you guys so much. And, Yeah, did you guys see that? Like, what is going on with this fourth wall stuff? All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me have my bot through all the social media stuff, the chat. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys soon. I'll hang around in the chat for a little bit. I'll check out that link you sent me. But thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you guys soon.